many of you have big dreams. As I talk to our leaders today, some of you are already accomplishing a great deal. But I want you to keep this in mind. The real question is not what are your dreams. The real question that each of us must answer is simply, what am I prepared to do about my dreams? What price am I willing to pay for my dreams? Folks, everybody dreams out there. Everybody has big dreams. You know, when we're in the third and fourth grade, you don't hear kids talking about going to work at Ford Motor or going to work at Intel or going to work at Cisco Systems for the next 30 years or going to work at IBM for the next 30 years. You hear those third and fourth and fifth graders, they're talking about, the little girls are talking about marrying kings and living in castles. The little boys are talking about going and playing in the NFL and maybe playing Major League Baseball or in the NBA. You don't hear them making small plans. But somehow as we age and we get a little older, many of us give up on our dreams. So really the real question is, what are you prepared to do? What price are you willing to pay to accomplish your dreams? It's real easy to play it safe out there. You know, I saw my own grandfather. Many of you throughout the crowd today, you've seen people in your own family who played it safe. My grandfather played it safe. He worked at a men's clothing store. Great man. He's a great man. He worked at a men's clothing store for 38 years. Finally got up the nerve one day to have his dream come true, which was to start his own house remodeling, home remodeling business. He went out there and did that. Within 9 months, he died of a heart attack. Worked for somebody else, planted in somebody else's fields, took care of somebody else's children, took care of somebody else's grandchildren his whole life, his whole working life, and then at the very end finally got up the courage to go do what it took and died within the next, before a year's time was up. Never really seeing what he might could be able to do had he done that earlier. Don't play it safe. Don't coast through life. The real question is, what demand will you put on yourself? Are you going to play it easy, take it easy, go through life, no bumps? I don't want any of the mountaintop experiences. I don't want any of the valleys. Well, that's tough. That's the way life works. It's going to work that way for you. It's always worked that way for me. It's going to work that way. Don't play it safe. Don't go out there and play it safe for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and look back with regret. Most of us don't regret things we did in the past. Statistics prove most of us regret things we didn't do. Don't look back and say, I could have done better. I should have done better. I should have done all that back in the early 2000s. I could have, should have, would have, but I didn't. Remember what I've said many times throughout the country and throughout Canada as well? If a frog had a pocket, he'd carry a gun and shoot snakes, but he does not. Frogs don't have pockets, and they don't shoot snakes. So if doesn't count. If you could have played it over, if you could go back to 1980, if you could go back to 1990, forget your past mistakes, forget your past failures, forget your past successes, get on with it. It's a new day. We, as Joshua 3:4 says, we are passing through new territory. As God said to Joshua, you are passing a territory you have never seen before. So it is with our company today, with the growth we're experiencing. We're passing a territory, we're passing a new way we have never seen before with the numbers of people that are coming into Fortune High Tech Marketing, with the numbers of people that are the customers that are coming on board daily and weekly. We're passing a new way. Pass a new way in your life. Go due north. It's time to turn north. It's time to turn north and stop circling those same old mountains that many of us have circled for decades in many cases. It's time to turn north. Many of us in this room have great potential. We've got unrealized potential, but potential, I've said many times in coaching, I know Tommy's used it too, but potential is a French word that means ain't worth a darn yet. Potential means nothing if you and I don't fulfill it. When we start out in this business, typically sometimes we're hindered by cynics, people who are always asking questions. And questions are okay. Questioning questions are not okay. But a cynic's questions, if you're not careful, become statements 10 minutes later. Don't let a cynic's questions become statements in your mind. Make up your mind what you're trying to do for your family, what you're trying to do for yourself, and for whomsoever and whatsoever you love in the future. Because there's coming a day that only you, in a financial way, only you are going to be able to put that new roof on that new church. Only you are going to be able to be the one, the aunt or the uncle the grandparent or the whatever it is in your family that sends someone, or the church member that sends someone, some child to college that could have never gone had it not been for you and for your effort many years before. Think of it in those terms. Think of something bigger than yourself. I try to do that every single day, thinking of all the reasons and all the people that I have to get up out of bed every morning and try to go help somebody one more time, one more day, in a positive way, have an influence in those people's lives. Many of you are already doing that. I want you to remember one very important point. While God gave Noah the instructions, it was Noah's effort that saved Noah. It was Noah's effort that saved Noah. Make no mistake about it. It will be you. It will be your effort. Surely with God's help, surely with God's blessing, but it will be you. It will be your effort that saves you and your family in a financial sense. Don't ever forget that. Don't shove it off to your brother. It's not your sister's problem. It's not your aunt's problem or your uncle's problem. It's not God's problem. He's given you everything you need and everything I need to succeed. Go out there and do it. Remember, after all, it was Noah that saved Noah and his family. It wasn't somebody else. It wasn't somebody he asked the question of. It was Noah. It'll be you for you and your family. Put yourself in situations that demand your best. Don't put yourself in situations that will allow you to be less than you can be and still coast through. You know, something I've talked about quite a bit, and when you put yourself in uncomfortable situations constantly, I become a better human being when I do those things. One word of caution: your greatest weakness will overcome and overtake your greatest desire. Get rid of your major glaring weaknesses. That which you won't overcome, that which I refuse to conquer, will conquer me in my life. If I've got several bad habits or a series of bad health habits, relationship habits, or whether it's financial habits, whatever it is in my life that I can't conquer, that thing will conquer me. You can rest assured. It may not do it this month, it may not do it this year, but over a period of time, my greatest weaknesses will overcome my greatest desires. Try to eliminate as best you can. None of us are going to be perfect, but try to eliminate your greatest weaknesses one by one, improving those to better your life overall. You know, not everybody out there is willing to pay the price. It's kind of like the story I heard of the old farmer was sitting on the porch with his friend, and his old dog was sitting on the porch, and pretty soon, just a couple minutes into their conversation, the old dog starts kind of barking and wailing, you know, and the one farmer looked at the other farmer and he said, "My goodness, what's wrong with your dog? He's sitting over there wailing and crying and whining." And the old farmer said, "Why, ain't nothing wrong with him. He's just laying on a nail." And the other old farmer looked at him and said, "Laying on a nail?" Well, said, "My goodness, why didn't he just get up?" And the old farmer said, "Oh, he will. He will when it gets to hurting bad enough. He'll get up." You know what? As silly as that sounds, that's many of us. There's two reasons that you and I will act. Number one is out of inspiration. Number two is out of desperation. For many of us, Fortune High-Tech Marketing is not our first choice. It's our last chance. It doesn't matter why you're here or how you got here. The fact of it is you are here, and I am here. Here we are with a chance to do something great. A chance to do something great for a lot of folks in this country that are now hurting. People whose economic situations are going downhill weekly. People who are about, in some cases, to lose their homes. People who are about, in some cases, to lose their cars. People who, in a lot of cases, have already lost their dreams, folks. It's still okay to dream big. You know, people in the political world sometimes, or if you turn on the evening news, they'd have us believing there's no hope anymore, that there's no reason to dream, that dreams can't be fulfilled, dreams can't be accomplished. That's not true. Dreams are more easily attainable today than ever before. It's actually easier to go out there and do something big with your life in a positive way than it's ever been before. We don't hear those stories, but it's actually easier to do that than ever before. It's easier for you to become a cash millionaire today than it was 15, 20, or 40, or 50 years ago. It's actually easier. But if you listen to the world, "Oh, people like you don't do that. That can't be done. You know, that's not going to happen to people like us. And I don't have the right kind of degree, or I don't have the right kind of upbringing to do those kind of nonsense. Nonsense, nonsense. You and I can go do those big things for our families, and your family counts on you. Your family's not counting on me. Your family counts on you. My family counts on me. And that's what Fortune is all about. It's about providing a way for us to see other folks and help them with their dreams as well. And folks, not everybody's coming. Not everybody's going to come along. And it's okay. You don't need everybody. If you have something put in your heart, you don't need to have everybody come along to see that job finished, to see it through. A lot of people are going to start the journey in any journey, but not a lot of people finish that journey. It's important to finish this journey for financial independence for you and your family.